Hello students, the continuation of sources of energy. We'll be able to understand the non-conventional sources of energy, and the children will recognize the sun is the ultimate source of energy and can easily explain about the advantages and the disadvantages of the sources of energy. Let us see in detail the non-conventional sources of energy. See, these types of sources of energy which are exhaustible and being produced continuously in nature, we can call it as a non-conventional energy or a renewable sources of energy. See, some of these we can say that solar energy, wind energy, tidal energy. Let us see in detail one by one. Non-conventional sources of energy. One by one we can see. First we can see that solar energy. See, the solar energy is the energy obtained from the sun. It is in the form of heat and light, right? So the heat energy is used in solar heating devices like solar cooker, solar water heater and solar furnaces and all. We know that we are using in the home based also, right? The light energy which is used in solar cells. Solar cooker, which is nothing but the box type solar cooker, has an insulated box which painted black inside. It is converted by a glass plate which allows heat to enter inside but does not allow the heat to escape out. It has a mirror to reflect more sunlight into the box. The food to be cooked is kept in containers inside the box. It can produce the temperature of 100 degree to 140 degree. Solar cells, which is the device, are helpful to convert the solar energy into the electrical energy. The solar cells are made from the semiconductors like silicon, germanium, gallium, etc. We can say that we are using with the help of the silicon material. And a single solar cell that produces a voltage of about 5 to 1 volt, and we can say produces about maybe like 0.7 watt of electricity. So several solar cells are arranged in a solar panel to produce more electricity, right? So what are the advantages of the solar cell? We can say that solar energy, that is, it is a renewable source of energy and it produces electricity which does not cause pollution, and it can be used in remote areas where there is no power supply also, right? The disadvantages, it use special grade of silicon which is expensive, and since silver is used for connecting the cell together, it is also very more expensive, right? So the current produced in DC to convert it to the AC also, it increases the cost. So as we explained about the box type of solar cooker, how it uses, so it helps to cook the food using the solar energy, right? So the black surface, what we said, it absorbs more heat as compared to the white or a reflecting surface under the identical condition also. The solar cooker and the solar water heater uses this property of working, right? And this is for the solar cell. So how the solar cell which is using, we can say this is the device which helps to convert the solar energy, that is light energy, directly into the electricity, right? So we said that here we are using the silicon for making the solar cells. The availability of the special grades of the making of solar cell is limited, we said, right? So energy from the sea. So energy from the sea is obtained in 3 different forms. There are, we can say that tidal energy, sea wave energy and the ocean thermal energy. Let us see one by one in detail. The tidal energy, see the periodic rise and the fall of sea level due to the gravitational attraction of moon causes the tides, right? A dam which is constructed at a narrow opening between the land and the sea, the movement of water which is during the high tides and the low tide, that can be used to rotate the turbines of generators to produce the electricity. So we can say this is the phenomenon which is called the high and the low tides and the differences in sea levels, which is called the tidal energy, right? The next one is sea wave energy. The sea wave energy, which is nothing but when strong wind which blows over the sea, it produces the huge waves, right? So the kinetic energy of the moving waves can be used to rotate the turbines generating to produce the electricity. In this way only, which with the help of the sea wave, the wave energy is transferred, right? And the next one is the ocean thermal energy. The ocean thermal energy, there is a temperature difference between the warm surface water and the cold surface water at the bottom of the ocean. It is usually happening, right? So this difference is about between the 20°C. So the warm surface water is used to boil the liquid ammonia and the vapor, which is used to rotate the turbines to produce the electricity, so that the cold water from the bottom is then pumped up to cool the vapor back to the liquid. So the next one is the geothermal energy. The deeper the region of the Earth's crust is very hot. So this heat which melts the rocks and forms magma. The magma moves up and collects below at some places. We can call it as hot spots, right? So the underground water in contact with hot spots gets heated into the steam at high pressure. By drilling holes into the hot spot, the steam coming out can be used to rotate turbines of generators, and this will produce the electricity, right? So this is only, we said that the earth has 3 layers, right? Through the diagrammatical expression you may understand that the core, mantle and the crest, right? So the core is the central part of the earth which is surrounded by the mantle. So mantle only is surrounded by the uppermost layer of the earth, which is called crest. So that is only, we said, the mass, molten mass, that is called the magma. With the help of the magma, it is a molten rock, right? Through that only we got the process. Nuclear energy. See, the nuclear energy is the energy which is released during the nuclear reaction. During the nuclear reaction, some mass which is converted into the energy, and so very large amount of energy is produced during the nuclear reactions. So nuclear reaction, we can say the 2 types, that is nuclear fission and nuclear fusion. Now we will see nuclear fission. See, nuclear fission, which means the nucleus of a heavy atom like uranium, plutonium, that and all, is splits into a smaller nuclei, and this is released with the release of a large amount of energy. So it is used to make atom bombs to produce the electricity. In a nuclear power plant, the heat energy produced by the controlled nuclear fission chain reaction is used to produce steam, which rotates the turbines of generators. It helps to produce the electricity. The nuclear fusion. The fusion is a nuclear reactions from the small nuclei fused together to form heavier nucleus with the release of a very large amount of energy. The energy of sun is produced by the fusion of hydrogen nuclei to form helium nucleus. So it is also used to make the hydrogen bomb, right? Advantages of nuclear energy. See, it produces a very large amount of energy per unit mass than any other sources of energy. And also, it is more environment friendly than the fossil fuels. The disadvantages of the nuclear energy, we can say that the cost of the nuclear reaction is very high and the availability of the nuclear fuel is very limited. So the nuclear reactors that produce harmful nuclear wastes, which is difficult to dispose also. This is the time for assessment. Let us see some questions from the video topics. Question number 1, list any 5 traditional uses of solar energy. See, drying of cloths, heating of water, drying crops, and we can say breeding and raising chicks, and drying manure. So question number 2, nuclear energy is considered to be a very powerful alternative of fossil fuels, right? Even then, why is it not being used on a much larger scale? See, actually it is very difficult to set up the nuclear power plants, and also a lot of money has to be spent on safety of the nuclear power plants. Moreover, the nuclear waste produced from the plants, it is very hazardous in nature. So we have learned through this video about non-conventional sources of energy such as solar energy, energy from sea, and the geothermal energy, nuclear energy. Thank you, students.